Mondo. Welcome back to another episode of the Atomic Luau. Welcome back to another episode of Midnight Snacks Tracks. This is the show where we make beats and mess around with technology, music technology, and we weigh the merits of the results. Sometimes they're good, sometimes the results are questionable. But I'm actually doing something a little bit different tonight. I was going over the merits of a lot of the iPad episodes, the iPad apps and things. When I first started making music, the iPad was kind of what facilitated making me getting into like electronic music and things like that. It was an avenue that I could get into electronic music without spending a whole lot of money on different equipment and stuff because of the virtualization of the some of the stuff that you would buy as hardware. But the thing that really one of the first applications that I got was one called what was it called? It was a simulation of a 303 TB303 bass sequencer, Rebirth, I think it was called, and which was a simulation of a TB303, and it had an element of the 909 drum machine kit in it as well, and you could make beats with that as if you were simulating those two machines. And it was the thing about the iPad, it was a way of simulating all of those hardware devices that you didn't have money to buy, but you could get an iPad app for the merest fraction of the price of the hardware. So for 10, $12 you could get Rebirth instead of having to go out and buy a TB303 or a 909. And that was the first way I started making beats. Well, another one of the first apps that I started making beats on was the iMaschine, which is kind of a stripped down simulation of Native Instruments Maschine, which if anybody knows that, it's one of the premier beat making machines from the company Native Instruments. And but the iPad version was a real simple way to make beats, to simulate a series of drum pads, and also keyboard. And you could also input your own sounds, your own audio into what they called iMaschine, which was the iPad version of the Native Instruments Maschine. And the cool thing about that was if you had a Maschine yourself, you could output the files that you made from iMaschine, from your iPad, and you could import them into Maschine on your computer. That way, if you were out, sketching out ideas and things like that on the iPad, which was more portable, you could take them home and work them up into something really big on Maschine on your computer. And those, it was just a real easy way to kind of break into beat making. And one of the things I was thinking about recently was that I've had this iPad app for maybe what's got to be at least 10 years now, maybe more. I don't know how old the iMaschine application is and it's actually gone through some iterations. What you're seeing on my screen right now is iMaschine 2, which when that came out, it had a few more features than iMaschine. I guess it was enough of a change for it to be a whole different separate program, but you could import the projects that you created on the original iMaschine, and you can import that into iMaschine 2. and and continue to work on those projects. And for me, I wasn't creating like really full songs or anything like that. It was just a great way to make really interesting loops and melodies and things like that. And then I would recombine them with other drum loops and melody loops that I made in other applications. But what always kind of struck me as a disappointment about the app iMaschine, and which has gotten even more profound over the years, was that a lot of the apps that were created for iPad really got sophisticated. They have MIDI input paths and things like that. You could MIDI map them, um, import your own sounds and things like that. Um, different kinds of plugins and things. There's DAWs that you can use for iPad, really complex DAWs where um, you could actually play other apps into the DAW on your iPad, and basically have a little studio in an iPad. But the problem with iMaschine, where I always thought it fell short, was that it didn't have a lot of those features like um, there are applications where you can, like I said, you can use control surface hardware on these apps that are on the iPad, but you could never do that with iMaschine. You could never use because at the time I had a Machine Micro, and I thought it would have been so great if I could use the drum pads from the hardware Machine Micro to control iMaschine too, and but it just doesn't have those things. And um, and it got really kind of even more disappointing when there was an application called Audio Bus, and Audio Bus totally revolutionized um, making beats on iPad apps, because if an application was created that had audio bus compatibility, you could run the audio from that iPad app through audio bus into another DAW on the same iPad, and essentially create a connected audio routed studio right there on your iPad. But it seems like at one point, all of the applications that had audio bus compatibility started going their separate ways, and they don't have audio bus compatibility anymore. One of them that really had it, that worked great, was iMaschine. But all of a sudden, the compatibility started to wane, and you can no longer route iMaschine audio through audio bus into the DAW. And that curtailed a whole lot of my recording of my beat making, because I was recording into DAWs at the time, and I had to use other applications to do that. And so the compatibility started to wane, and it seems like the applications weren't working together anymore, and that kind of put a dampener on making beats and actually whole songs, on the iPad. So I had to look for other ways to record that output. Um, but like I said, just thinking back over the years, I probably have beats in this app that are more than 10 years old, and I just feel like I want to shout out to Native Instruments to have them do something with this app. And this app could be so much more than it is. And I just think it's a lot of, it's not wasted potential, but there's still a whole lot of potential there if Native Instruments took a really hard look at iMaschine and took a look at its compatibility with different hardware that might connect to the iPad, and its compatibility with other applications like Audio Bus that may, that where it would work well with a DAW that works on the iPad. But I just think it's a whole lot of wasted potential here. And you look at other apps that are just killing it, like Algorithms DJ Pro. That application is totally slaughtering in the iPad market, because it's got runs on an iPad, has does just about everything that a computer-based DJ software will do, and all kinds of hardware compatibility along with it. It's just you know a really sophisticated piece of software on an iPad, and it's just outpacing a whole lot of other applications, and they're adding more features to it too. So, but I just wish Native Instruments would take a page out of their book and make iMaschine more compatible with a lot of hardware control surfaces and things like that, MIDI mapping and stuff. I would love to see MIDI mapping and things come to iMaschine too. But one of the reasons that I started thinking about this lately is because um, I kind of got into um, beat making, and particularly on the iPad around I think around I remember distinctly it being around 2010, because there was around the time when the movie Tron Legacy it came out, and I kind of discovered Daft Punk, and I wanted to make electronic music like Daft Punk, and and like I said, the getting the iPad at that time was an easy way to get into it and at least learn the principles of it without having to buy all of the expensive hardware for it. And ironically, this year I just saw a trailer the other day. A new Tron movie is coming out later this year, coming out in October. It's called Tron Ares, I think, and it looks pretty wild. So hopefully the music will be will be what it was back in 2010. So maybe they can pull Daft Punk out of retirement and put them back on this movie. But um, and in light of that, I started messing around with a lot of like looking at a lot of like old beats on this device, and I realized that I've got a crap ton of old beats and loops here. A lot of them, unheard by anybody else but me. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them, um, you know, individual loops are good, but they're terrible together in the ensemble that I made them. But tonight I'm gonna just spend some time, kind of going through the loops and maybe talking through a few of them. And I don't know what I was thinking when I when I made a lot of these, but some of the stuff sounds pretty good that I'd like to kind of pull out of mothballs and export out of here and see if I could work up into something. But let's see what we got. And then there's a lot of real like ridiculous titles that I made off the cuff here. There's one called Woo, Yanker Chain, Hipster Fuckface, and um, Wasteland Resort. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm gonna just go ahead and play loops for a while, and we'll see if there's anything here that may be workable. And this was so cool. It's like you got four tracks here, and those tracks can either be drum kits, they can be keyboard, which like a synth or something like that, or you have a direct audio input where you can record through a microphone or through the built-in mic on the iPad. I don't even think you can use a hardware mic to record through. I think you can, but I'm not sure. It depends on the application, um, but there's some good stuff here, and you'll see like for example, if you look at um, it has tons and tons of expansions here, and sounds that are built in. Wasteland Resort. I usually mute everything and see. Oh, and there's also effects here. You see these FX1 and 2. These are the effects that are applied to this first track here. In this case, it's chorus, which you could switch that with here, or lo-fi, and of course the amount that's applied depends on where these sliders and buttons are. But let's see what it sounds like. sounds promising. What did I use here? This is called Beatboard Kit. They had some good sounds in this, really good sounds. And I bought all of the expansion kits. The expansion kits were only 99 cents. And I bought all of them when they came out. And whenever they came out, grab that expansion kit, download it real quick. And this keyboard, this sound is called, this is a synth lead called Bittersweet. And then you could change the octave with this slider right here. And this kit is an electronic kit called Keepex. Some of these sounds, like when you put them on there, you could edit them. You could edit all of the sounds here, but some of them would would be a one shot, or you'd have to hold them down in order to get the whole sample. And usually your kit and basic kit was down at the bottom. Your toms and stuff would be in here in the second row, and then your specialized sounds and stuff would be. See that one? That one's a hold. Play the whole sample, but if you let it go, you just get the beginning. I use some of these samples for like other stuff important into other apps. So what did these loops sound like? Let's mute everything except the main one. I usually would have the main kit over here on the left. Usually it was bass on the second track, then then keyboard, some keyboard lead or something like that, and then maybe another kit on this side for samples or anything. But what does it sound like? Okay, it doesn't sound like anything. There's some sound on there. I guess I didn't record anything here. No, nothing's recorded. All right. Well, screw it. Let's record something. Now I know why it's untitled. Let's get out of here. This is terrible. This one's called Tower. Muted. Unmute. Actually. This was your tempo control up here. This is 100 BPM. Tempo control at the top in the center there. Usually like to fade these in. This is a bass. This is called chainsaws. Bass called chainsaws. A lead called Jobit Solo. Oh, and you can also create chords on here. Right now the chords are off, so it's just a um, single note. But you can also turn on your harmonizer and for your chord sets. Change the scale right here. Right now, regular chromatic C. I'm not as learned it in music to create it, but you can create, you got pentatonics and major minor pentatonics where apparently is good to create in those. But yeah, built-in chords. So if you use that, another thing you could do with this was you had arpeggios. It has an arpeggiator where you can right now it's on a single octave, but you can have 2 or 3 or 4 octaves. This was another tool that it had was this volume. This is like a volume control. Fade them out like that. But yeah, crazy stuff. Let's see what this sounds like together. Tomb of the Queen. I think this one was interesting. Guitar solos on this kit. This is called song called "This Is Weird." Okay, what is this? That beat stinks. It stinks by itself, but sometimes those beats come together when you play it with something else. Still, I like that freaky synth sound. There were some good sounds in here. You know, they weren't all spectacular. The drums didn't hit as hard as I'd like them to. I didn't know how to really, bolster the drums in here. You can on other systems you can do things like drum layering and stuff like that, but I didn't know how to do that here. I'm still not, completely learning those things, but yeah, still a really good tool here, and there's a lot of good sounds in here. The Believers, what does that sound like? Quantum Collection, which okay, and these are all of the um, expansions. Tons of them. Each of these was like 99 cents, and I got them all. And ignition code, and all of these were just man. And I would dash it as soon as because I would get the Native Instruments email, and as soon as they would email about a new expansion pack, I was right there, you know, getting it, and it includes projects and synths, and also like synths and bass and stuff like that, and also the drum kits and samples and stuff like that. But yeah, I love this. Okay, I guess we don't have that kit for this, do we? Okay, this is missing. This is missing is there anything on here? That looks fine. What? Okay. So one sequence here. One sequence here. There was one here, even though there was no sound here. There was one sequence here, but nothing here. Okay. Let's mute them. See what they sound like. This one on Sound like anything together? Exporting them and using them somewhere else. It's crazy, you know. What else we got here? The Land Unknown. What does this sound like? What do these sound like? Mute them all. It's kind of. Can't be salvaged, not together. Tattered. I think I was playing this earlier. This might have potential here. Hold on. Target in range. All right, do a couple more of these, and then I'm gonna quit for the night. So I'm getting depressed in more ways than one. It's like, man, I wish I could go back and keep using this nostalgic about this app that kind of got me into like beat making. There's no dates on the files, or at least on the file entries here. I'd like to see the create date of when these were made, because okay, I gotta play one more. This is called Sweet Voodoo, so we have to. Oh, look at that. There's no sound on whatever that was. I've done this. I think I've walked down memory lane long enough. Let's go ahead and leave it here. But I'll leave you with this thought, man. iMaschine 2 is a great tool for sketching out beats, but it could be so much more if they would allow, if Native Instruments would go back to this, add some MIDI control, so you can use external control surfaces, maybe some, I don't know if they could do some sound routing or something like that. Get it to work better with audio bus, please, because it was so easy playing this into audio bus and getting that audio directly into other apps, and now that's just failed. You enter it into audio bus, it will go into audio bus, but it won't output any sound at all, and that was really disappointing. But I used to make a whole lot of stuff routing them through audio bus straight into an iOS DAW, like Beatmaker 2 or Beatmaker 3, and I miss those days because I made a lot of good stuff and never having to leave the iPad, you know. But Native Instruments, please take another look at your iOS users and make something for iOS. And not just for this, but also like look at like Tractor. I love Tractor, for Mac, but on iOS they are being completely slaughtered by algorithms, DJ Pro, and I think companies need to start taking the iPad seriously as a platform for music making and for DJing off of it, and also for for so many things. Um, but yeah, if they could put the add some MIDI control to this, and just make it a micro version and a micro iOS version of the Mac version, that would be so sweet. But this has been an app that's been neglected for years. But it's really close to me because it's one of the first apps that I started beat making on, and man, it still has so much potential. Anyway, that's iMaschine 2. This has been a real weird episode of Midnight Snack Tracks, but I just really felt like I wanted to talk about that. And I think the thing that kicked it off was seeing that Tron trailer, and it all came flooding back of how I started doing this. How I started playing around with with music sequencers and iPad apps and stuff. But it was Tron Legacy that got me interested in it, and now Tron Ares is coming out, so let's see hopefully what the music is going to be like in that movie. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it here, but hey, thanks for watching, and leave a like if you will, and follow me at djmondosrave.com with links to all of my social media sites. Pick up a t-shirt if you are so inclined.